Another black woman playing hero. You people never learn your place. Lieutenant Holt yanked the silver star off her chest. He spit on it, then threw it into a puddle like garbage. Please, sir, I'm a physician. I served 2 tours in Afghanistan. You think I care? He slammed her against the car. In my city, your kind follows orders. Period. The victim can confirm. He's right over there bleeding. That bleeding man? Holt laughed. He's probably your accomplice. You people always run together. The other officers chuckled. One filmed on his phone. Sir, I have rights. Rights? Holt leaned close, his breath hot. Where you're going, black girls don't have rights. Her phone buzzed. Screen lit up. Mom. She couldn't answer. 48 hours later, Holt's face turned white as paper. The governor stepped to the microphone. That woman you arrested? That's my daughter. Let me take you back. 2 days before everything changed. 2 days before Lieutenant Derek Holt's world came crashing down around him. Monique Foster woke at 5:30 a.m. Same time every morning, same routine every day. A habit from the Army. The kind of habit that keeps you alive when bullets are flying and bombs are exploding. Her apartment was small, clean, simple. Military discipline showed in every corner. Bed made tight enough to bounce a quarter. Clothes folded in perfect squares. Books arranged by size on the shelf. Nothing wasted, nothing extra, nothing out of place. On her wall hung a silver star in a wooden frame. The metal gleamed in the early morning light. Next to it, a photograph of 7 soldiers smiling in the Afghan sun. Dusty uniforms, tired eyes, real smiles. She was the only woman in the picture, the only one still alive. Below that, another photo, one she never showed anyone, a black woman in her 30s embracing an older white woman with silver hair, both smiling, both crying. The day Monique graduated from medical school, the proudest day of both their lives. She never told anyone who that older woman was. Never explained the relationship. Never connected the dots for curious colleagues or nosy neighbors. That was the deal. That was how she wanted it. Monique slipped on her running shoes. Old but reliable, like her. She jogged through Piedmont Park as the sun rose over Atlanta. The skyline glowed orange and pink. Birds sang in the oak trees. Her breath came steady and even. Her mind went quiet. This was her meditation, her therapy, her escape. The only time she didn't hear the screams from Kandahar. The only time she didn't see the faces of soldiers she couldn't save. After her run, she showered. Dressed in simple blue scrubs, made coffee, black, no sugar, checked her phone while she ate a protein bar. One message from Mom. Dinner Sunday? I have news. Love you. Monique smiled. A rare thing. She typed back, wouldn't miss it, night shift tonight. Sleep first. Love you too. She looked at her wrist. A simple silver watch. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive. But the engraving on the back meant everything. To my daughter, my pride. Mom. She'd worn it every day for 6 years, through surgeries, through emergencies, through the worst nights the ER could throw at her. It never came off. It was her anchor, her reminder, her connection to the woman who saved her life. At Grady Memorial Hospital, Dr. Monique Foster was known as the doctor who never quit. 12-hour shifts felt like warm-ups to her. 18 hours? No problem. 24? She'd done worse in combat. Much worse. That morning, she checked on her last patient from the night before. A 12-year-old black boy named Deshaun. Asthma attack. Severe. He'd come in gasping. Blue around the lips, terrified, crying for his mama. Monique had stabilized him, sat with him, held his hand through the worst of it. Now she sat beside his bed again, checking his vitals. watching his chest rise and fall. Normal, steady, good. Deshawn, her voice was soft, warm. Look at me. The boy opened his eyes, still scared, still small. You're gonna be okay. I promise. She squeezed his hand. Slow breaths, in through your nose, out through your mouth. You control your breathing. You control everything. You understand? He tried. Failed. Tried again. His breathing steadied. His shoulders relaxed. His mother burst through the door, tears streaming down her face. She'd driven all night from Macon. Hadn't slept. Hadn't eaten. Just drove. She grabbed Monique's hands, gripped them like a lifeline. Thank you. Thank you. God bless you, Doctor. God bless you. Monique just smiled. He's strong. He gets it from his mama. This was why she came home from war. Not for medals, not for glory, not for recognition. For moments like this. For second chances. For the chance to save one more life. Then one more. Then one more. 20 miles across the city, a very different scene unfolded. Governor Patricia Caldwell stood at a podium inside the Georgia State Capitol. The press room was packed. Cameras flashed like lightning. Reporters leaned forward in their seats. This was the announcement they'd been waiting for. For too long, Caldwell said, her voice cutting through the noise. We've seen a disturbing pattern in this state. Black and brown citizens disproportionately targeted by law enforcement. Women dismissed and disbelieved when they report misconduct. Excessive force swept under rugs. Complaints buried. Victims silenced. She paused. Let the weight of her words settle over the room. That ends now. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Today, I'm announcing the Police Accountability and Transparency Act. Mandatory body cameras for all officers. Independent review boards with real authority. Civilian oversight committees with subpoena power. And real consequences, criminal consequences, for misconduct. In the back of the room, several uniformed officers exchanged dark looks. One leaned to another and whispered, "She's coming for us. All of us." Caldwell didn't care who heard. She'd spent 30 years fighting for justice, as a public defender representing those who couldn't afford lawyers, as a state attorney prosecuting those who thought they were above the law. Now, as governor, wielding power she'd earned through decades of sacrifice. She had enemies, plenty of them, powerful ones, dangerous ones. She welcomed each and every one. After the press conference, her chief of staff, Daniel Crawford, rushed to her side. Young, eager, nervous. "Ma'am, Lieutenant Holt's union is already calling this an attack on law enforcement. They're threatening—" "Good." Caldwell didn't look up from her notes. "Means we're hitting the right nerve." Her phone buzzed. A text from Monique. "Wouldn't miss it. Night shift tonight. Sleep first. Love you too." For a moment, the governor's face softened. The steel melted. Just for a moment. Then it returned. Harder than before. On her desk sat a framed photograph. Her and Monique at Monique's Army graduation. Caldwell beaming with pride, tears in her eyes. Monique standing at attention in her dress uniform, trying not to cry. 28 years ago, Patricia Caldwell had been a broke public defender. Too many cases, not enough hours, not enough money, not enough hope. Then one case changed everything. A 4-year-old girl with big brown eyes and a bruise on her cheek. Mother dead from overdose, father unknown, no grandparents, no aunts, no uncles, no one. The state wanted to throw her into the foster system. Another number, another statistic, another black child lost in the cracks. Patricia looked at that little girl, saw something, felt something, made a decision that would define the rest of her life. She adopted her, raised her, loved her, fought for her, watched her become extraordinary. But Monique wanted to build her own identity, her own legacy, her own path. So she kept her birth mother's last name, Foster, and Patricia respected that choice, admired it even. No one knew the governor had a daughter. That's how Monique wanted it. That's how it stayed. Until tonight. Until everything changed. Meanwhile, at Metro PD downtown precinct, a different kind of leader held court. Lieutenant Derek Holt sat at his desk. Feet up, coffee in hand, television playing in the background. 24 years on the force. 24 years of doing things his way. 3 excessive force complaints, all dismissed. His brother-in-law sat on the city council. His drinking buddy was the police union president. He was untouchable. He knew it. Everyone knew it. "You hear this garbage?" Holt jabbed his finger at the TV screen. Governor Caldwell was still talking, still threatening, still pretending she could change anything. "Governor thinks she can tell us how to do our jobs. Some woman who never walked a beat, never faced a gun, never had to make a split-second decision." Officer Ryan Brennan nodded eagerly. Young, hungry, stupid, the perfect subordinate. "What are we going to do about it, Lieutenant?" Holt smiled. Cold, empty, predatory. "Same thing we always do. Our jobs." He cracked his knuckles. "And when someone complains, when some bleeding heart liberal cries about excessive force," he leaned forward, "we remind them who really runs this city. We remind them who keeps the animals in line." In the corner, Officer Tanya Vickers shifted uncomfortably. Said nothing. She'd learned that lesson early. Say nothing. See nothing. Survive. Holt noticed her discomfort. His eyes narrowed. "You got a problem, Vickers?" "No, sir. No problem." "Good." He stood, stretched. "Because tonight, we're going to show this governor what real policing looks like. We're going to remind her why she needs us." His radio crackled. "Dispatch. Robbery in progress. Midtown. 2 males involved. Possible assault." Holt grabbed his jacket, grinned at his team, the grin of a predator who smelled blood. "Let's roll!" They walked out into the night. Confident. Powerful. Untouchable. None of them knew that in 20 minutes, they would meet a woman who would destroy everything they'd ever built. None of them knew that woman was the governor's daughter, and none of them knew that every single moment was about to be captured on camera. 10:15 p.m., Midtown Atlanta. The streets were quiet. Too quiet for a Friday night. Monique Foster walked home from her shift. 12 hours in the ER. 3 gunshot wounds, 2 overdoses, 1 cardiac arrest, 4 lives saved, 0 lives lost. A good night. A successful night. She was exhausted. Her feet ached. Her back hurt. Her eyes burned. All she wanted was her bed, a hot shower, 8 hours of sleep. Then she heard the scream. It came from an alley. Sharp, desperate, male, the sound of someone in serious trouble. Most people would keep walking, cross the street, mind their business, call 911 and hope someone else dealt with it. Monique Foster wasn't most people. She ran toward the sound. In the alley, a black man in his 30s lay on the ground. Blood poured from a gash on his head. A white man stood over him, rifling through his pockets. Mid-20s, muscular, a scar shaped like lightning on his neck. The victim, Darnell Williams, saw Monique at the mouth of the alley. His eyes went wide, pleading, desperate. "Help! Please, help me!" The mugger, Kevin Doyle, spun around. Saw her. Calculated his odds. Decided she wasn't a threat. Decided wrong. Monique didn't hesitate. Didn't think. Didn't calculate. Just acted. 12 years of combat training took over. 8 years of Army discipline. 2 tours in the most dangerous places on Earth. She charged. Closed the distance in 3 seconds. swept his legs, took him down hard. Down. Controlled. Precise. No excessive force. Just enough. Kevin Doyle hit the concrete. She pinned him, locked his arm behind his back, immobilized him completely. "Stay down." Her voice was steel. "Don't move. Don't speak." She looked at the victim, assessed his injuries, head wound, possible concussion, bleeding but conscious. "Sir, I'm a doctor. Don't move. You may have a concussion. Keep pressure on that wound. Help is coming." Darnell Williams nodded, tears in his eyes. "Thank you. Thank you so much." Sirens in the distance, getting closer. Good. The police would arrive. They'd take statements, arrest the mugger, help the victim. Justice would be served. That's how it was supposed to work. That's how it was supposed to happen. The mugger squirmed beneath her. "Get off me! I didn't do nothing! This crazy woman attacked me!" Monique ignored him, kept her weight centered, kept him immobilized, waited. 2 minutes later, 3 squad cars screeched to a stop. Red and blue lights painted the alley. Doors flew open. Officers poured out, weapons drawn. Lieutenant Derek Holt took one look at the scene and made his decision. Black woman on top of white man. Black man bleeding on the ground. He didn't need statements, didn't need evidence, didn't need the truth. He had everything he needed. He drew his weapon, pointed it at Monique's head. "Freeze! Hands up! Now!" And just like that, Monique Foster's nightmare began. Monique raised her hands slowly, carefully. She knew how this worked. She knew what happened to black people who moved too fast around nervous cops with guns. "Officer, I'm a physician. I stopped a mugging. This man on the ground attacked that gentleman over there. He's the victim. I'm the one who helped him." "I said freeze." Holt's gun didn't waver. His finger was on the trigger. Officer Brennan rushed forward, grabbed Monique by the arm, yanked her off Kevin Doyle, slammed her against the squad car, hard enough to knock the breath out of her. Darnell Williams struggled to his feet, blood dripping down his face, voice hoarse but clear. "Wait! You got it wrong! She saved me!" He pointed at Kevin Doyle, who was now brushing off his clothes, playing innocent. "That white guy robbed me. He was beating me. She stopped him." Holt didn't even look at Darnell. Dismissed him with a wave. "Sir, sit down. You're clearly disoriented from the head wound." "I'm not disoriented. I'm telling you what happened. She's a hero." Holt finally glanced at him. The contempt in his eyes was undisguised, pure, ugly. Head trauma makes people confused, makes them see things that didn't happen. We'll sort it out at the station. Now sit down before I arrest you too. Kevin Doyle saw his chance. He'd been arrested before. He knew how to play the game, how to be the victim, how to make the cops see what he wanted them to see. "She jumped me." Fake tears, voice cracking, Oscar-worthy performance. "I was just walking home and she attacked me out of nowhere. Then she started beating that black guy too. I tried to stop her, but she was crazy." Holt nodded, satisfied. The story fit his worldview perfectly. "Cuff her." Officer Vickers stepped forward, hesitant. Something was wrong here. She could feel it. "Lieutenant, maybe we should take statements first. Get the full picture before we—" "Did I ask for your opinion, Vickers?" Holt's voice was ice, sharp enough to cut. "I gave you an order. Cuff her." Vickers backed down, said nothing more. Survival instinct overriding conscience. Brennan twisted Monique's arms behind her back. The handcuffs clicked tight. Too tight. Metal bit into her wrists. She felt blood. Then Holt saw the medal on her chest. The Silver Star. One of the highest honors for valor in combat. He reached out, grabbed it, examined it. "Well, well, well, what do we have here?" He laughed. "A war hero. A decorated veteran, fighting for freedom overseas." He spit on the medal. "Too bad you forgot where you belong." He threw it into a puddle. It landed with a splash, sank into dirty water. Another black woman playing hero. You people never learn your place. Monique said nothing, jaw tight, eyes forward. She'd faced Taliban fighters. She'd survived IED explosions. She'd held dying soldiers in her arms. She would not let this man break her. Please, sir. Her voice was steady, calm. I'm a physician. I served 2 tours in Afghanistan. I have rights. Rights! Holt grabbed her chin, forced her to look at him. His breath was hot on her face. His eyes were empty of humanity. Where you're going, black girls don't have rights. Should have stayed in the kitchen where you belong. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. The screen lit up, visible through the fabric. Mom? She couldn't answer. Holt noticed. Smiled. Mommy calling? That's sweet. He shoved her toward the squad car. You can call her from prison, after we charge you with murder. Murder? For the first time, Monique's composure cracked, just slightly. I saved that man's life. He's right there. Ask him. That man? Holt shrugged. He'll be gone in 5 minutes. Head trauma, remember? Unreliable witness. And when we can't find him tomorrow? Another shrug. We'll assume the worst. That's how this works. Brennan pushed her into the back of the squad car. Door slammed, locks clicked. Through the window, Monique watched the real criminal walk free. Kevin Doyle brushed off his clothes, shared a laugh with the officers, actually shook Holt's hand, walked past Darnell Williams like he didn't exist. Thanks for the donation, Doyle whispered to Darnell as he passed, smiling, triumphant. The cops laughed. Darnell Williams screamed at them, begged them, pleaded with them. They ignored him. One officer told him to go home before he got arrested for obstruction. He stumbled away into the night, bleeding, furious, broken, but not defeated, because Darnell Williams remembered everything, every face, every word, every laugh, and he was about to make sure the whole world knew the truth. Midnight. Metro PD Downtown Precinct. Interrogation Room B. Monique sat alone, hands cuffed to a cold metal table. No water, no food, no lawyer, no explanation. Just 4 concrete walls, a one-way mirror, and a clock that ticked too slowly. 2 hours passed. She counted every minute, every second. This was nothing. She'd waited longer in foxholes, with bombs falling, with friends dying, with hope fading. This was just a room, just time, just another test. The door finally opened. Holt walked in. Brennan followed with a manila folder. They sat across from her, relaxed, confident, in complete control. Monique Foster. Holt flipped through papers, taking his time, enjoying this. No priors, Army veteran, Silver Star recipient, emergency room physician at Grady Memorial. He looked up, smiled. Impressive resume for a murderer. I've requested a lawyer 8 times now. You're violating my constitutional rights. Rights. Holt chuckled. There's that word again. Here's what I know, Monique. A man was attacked tonight. When we arrived, you were on top of another man who claims you assaulted him. He slid a photograph across the table. A grainy CCTV image of Darnell Williams. And this gentleman, the one you claim you saved, he's missing. Vanished into thin air. Phone's off. Never made it home. Wife's worried sick. Monique's stomach tightened. He was bleeding from a head wound. Did you even call him an ambulance? Don't change the subject. Holt's voice hardened. Where is he? What did you do to him? I saved his life. You let the real criminal walk away. You shook his hand. The real criminal? Holt laughed, leaned back. Lady, the only criminal I see is sitting right in front of me. Black woman with a chip on her shoulder. Thought she could play hero. Thought wrong. What Monique didn't know, Darnell Williams was alive. He'd walked himself to a nearby urgent care clinic, furious, terrified, determined. He'd told them everything, every detail, every officer's face, every word they'd said. The nurse handed him a card. ACLU, Georgia, Civil Rights Hotline. He called immediately. I want to report a wrongful arrest. They've got an innocent woman, and I can prove it. Back in the interrogation room, Holt continued his performance. Here's what's going to happen, Monique. You're going to tell me where Darnell Williams is. Or I'm going to assume you killed him, dumped the body somewhere, tried to cover your tracks. He stood, leaned over her, close enough that she could smell the coffee on his breath. Assault, robbery, murder. In this state, that's the death penalty, even for pretty black doctors with fancy medals. Monique met his eyes, unflinching, unbroken. I want my lawyer, now. Holt smiled, turned to leave, hand on the door. The public defender's office is backed up. Budget cuts, you know. Could be days before someone's available. He glanced back. Get comfortable. You're gonna be here a while. The door slammed. Monique closed her eyes, breathed, in through the nose, out through the mouth. The same technique she'd taught to Sean. The same technique that had kept her alive through 2 combat tours. You control your breathing. You control everything. 6:00 a.m., local news studio. Anchor. Diana Morales read the breaking story with practiced concern. Behind her, a graphic showed a silhouette of a woman in handcuffs. A black woman is in custody this morning, accused of attacking 2 men in Midtown Atlanta. Sources say she may face murder charges if one alleged victim isn't found. Police describe the suspect as a female in her 30s with military background who works in healthcare. 20 miles away, Governor Patricia Caldwell watched from her home office, still in her bathrobe, coffee frozen halfway to her lips. Military background, healthcare. 30s, Midtown. Last night. Her blood went cold. Her hands began to shake. She grabbed her phone, dialed Monique, voicemail. Daniel! Her voice cracked, broke. Daniel, get over here. Now! Right now! At Grady Memorial Hospital, Monique's colleagues gathered around the break room television. The morning shift had just arrived. The news was everywhere. That description, one nurse whispered. That sounds exactly like Dr. Foster. She didn't show up for her shift today. No call, no message, nothing. Oh, God. Oh, my God. By noon, Monique Foster was processed into Fulton County Jail. Mugshot, fingerprints, orange jumpsuit, the whole dehumanizing routine. The charges: aggravated assault, armed robbery, first-degree murder. They took her watch. The officer handling her belongings paused, read the engraving on the back. To my daughter, my pride. Mom. He shrugged, tossed it in a bin with her wallet, her keys, her phone, her silver star. Everything that made her who she was, reduced to evidence in a plastic bag. In the holding cell, other inmates sized her up. Fresh meat, easy target, doctor in a jumpsuit. Doctor, huh? One woman sneered. What did you do, kill a patient? Give someone the wrong pill? Monique said nothing. Found a corner. Sat on the cold concrete. Closed her eyes. Controlled her breathing. Waited. At the governor's mansion, Patricia Caldwell was anything but calm. Daniel Crawford burst through her office door, white as a sheet, hands trembling. Governor, the arrest in Midtown. He could barely get the words out. It's Monique. They've arrested Monique. The coffee cup shattered on the floor. Patricia didn't notice, didn't care. What did you say? Your daughter. They've charged her with murder, first degree, and they've already leaked it to the press. For 3 seconds, Patricia Caldwell didn't move, didn't breathe, didn't think. Then the steel returned, harder, sharper, more dangerous than ever. Get me the police commissioner, the attorney general, the head of the FBI field office, my personal lawyer, and find Raymond Whitmore. Tell him I need him, tonight. Whatever he's doing, drop it. Ma'am, if you go public with this, if I go public... Caldwell spun around, fire in her eyes, ice in her voice. They have my daughter, in a cage, because she stopped a mugging, because she helped a bleeding man, because she did what I raised her to do. She stepped close to Daniel, so close he could see the tears she was fighting back. I've spent 30 years waiting for the system to fix itself, waiting to do things the right way, the patient way, the proper way. Her jaw tightened. The right way just ended. She walked out. Door slamming behind her hard enough to shake the walls. That night, in a small office at ACLU, Georgia, 2 men sat across from each other. Raymond Whitmore, 58 years old, former detective. 30 years on the force before a bullet took his knee and corruption took his faith. Now a private investigator. Now someone who fought for the other side. Across from him, Darnell Williams, bandage on his head, fire in his eyes, fury in his voice. Mr. Williams, I'm not with the police. I'm working for people who want the truth, the whole truth. Can you tell me exactly what happened? Darnell leaned forward. That woman saved my life. Period. End of story. The mugger was white, mid-20s. Had a scar on his neck shaped like lightning. The cops let him go. Didn't even question him. Shook his damn hand. Laughed with him. They released him? The actual perpetrator? He walked right past me, smiled at me, said thanks for the donation, like it was a joke, like I was a joke, and the cops laughed with him. Whitmore wrote everything down. His jaw tightened with each word. The police report says you were incoherent at the scene. Head trauma affecting your memory and perception. Darnell slammed his hand on the table. I was bleeding, not brain dead. I told them exactly what happened. Word for word. They didn't want to hear it. That Lieutenant, Holt, he looked at me like I was nothing. Like my truth didn't matter. Because I was black. Because she was black. Because the criminal was white. Whitmore stood, extended his hand. Mr. Williams, I need you to do something brave, something difficult. I need you to say all of this again, on camera, under oath. Official, sworn deposition. Can you do that? Darnell stood, grabbed Whitmore's hand, gripped it hard. That woman could have walked by, let me get beaten, robbed, maybe killed. She didn't know me. Had no reason to help me, but she ran toward danger, put herself at risk, for a stranger. His voice cracked. Now they want to destroy her for it, put her in prison, maybe execute her for being a hero. He straightened up. So yes, I'll say it anywhere, courthouse, TV station, front steps of the Capitol. I'll say it until someone listens, until everyone listens. Whitmore nodded, pulled out his phone, sent a text. To GC. Got our witness, got his deposition. Holt's finished. He just doesn't know it yet. The reply came in seconds. From GC. Good. Now get me the body cam footage. Officer Vickers. She's the weak link. Whatever it takes. Whitmore smiled grimly. Whatever it takes. That was the governor he knew. The fighter. The warrior. 2 days after the arrest. 3:00 p.m., Ebenezer Baptist Church, historic sanctuary of the civil rights movement. The pews were packed, standing room only, community leaders in their Sunday best, hospital staff still wearing scrubs, veterans in dress uniforms with medals on their chests, reporters with cameras and microphones, hundreds of people united by a single emotion, outrage. Outside, the crowd spilled onto the sidewalk and into the street. Signs waved in the autumn air. Free Dr. Foster. Veterans aren't criminals. We see you, Holt. Black lives matter. Justice for Monique. At the front of the church, Pastor William Gaines approached the microphone. 65 years old, 30 years leading this congregation. He'd marched with giants. He'd buried martyrs. He'd seen injustice in every form. But this one hit different. Brothers and sisters, his voice filled the sanctuary like thunder. We gather today because one of our own sits in a cage. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the crowd. Amens echoed off the walls. Monique Foster served this country. 2 tours in combat zones where most of us would be afraid to set foot. Silver Star for saving 7 lives under enemy fire. She carried wounded soldiers to safety while bullets flew around her. He gripped the podium, knuckles white. She came home with shrapnel in her arm and nightmares in her head. And what did she do? She dedicated herself to saving more lives, every night, in our emergency room, our hospital, our community. The crowd stirred, restless, angry, ready. And now she sits in a cell, charged with murder, because she stopped a violent crime, because she helped a bleeding man, because she did what any good person, what any decent human being would do. He stepped back from the microphone, surveyed the crowd. But today, I'm not the one you need to hear from. Confusion rippled through the room. People looked at each other, whispered questions. Then the side door opened. Governor Patricia Caldwell walked in. Alone. No security detail. No press secretary. No handlers. No entourage. Just one woman in a navy blue suit with steel in her spine and fire in her eyes. The church went silent. Completely silent. Then erupted in chaos. Reporters scrambled for their cameras. Phones flew up by the hundreds. This wasn't on any schedule. No press release. No advance warning. No one had any idea she was coming. Is that the governor? Patricia Caldwell? What is she doing here? Caldwell walked to the front. Calm. Measured. Every step deliberate. Every movement controlled. She climbed the steps to the pulpit, nodded to Pastor Gaines, took her place at the microphone. 20 miles away, at Metro PD downtown precinct, Lieutenant Derek Holt sat in the break room, feet up, coffee in hand, television on. The breaking news banner stopped his heart mid-beat. Governor Caldwell makes surprise appearance at church rally for arrested veteran. He sat up straight, spilled coffee all over his shirt, barely noticed. What the hell is she doing there? Brennan rushed in, pale, panicked. Lieutenant, you need to see this. I'm seeing it. On the screen, Governor Caldwell reached the podium. The church fell silent. The whole city fell silent. Good afternoon. I'm here today to address the arrest of Monique Foster. Holt snorted, trying to convince himself this was nothing. Political stunt. She's using this case for press. Typical politician. But something in Caldwell's face made him uneasy. Something in her eyes. Something he'd never seen before. Rage. Controlled. Focused. Deadly. Back at the church, Caldwell continued. I've reviewed the arrest report, the witness statements, the bodycam footage. She held up a USB drive. Small. Silver. Devastating. This footage was not included in the official record. It was hidden, deleted, buried. But it has since been recovered by independent investigators. Holt felt his stomach drop through the floor. Bodycam footage. His bodycam footage. The footage Brennan was supposed to delete. The footage that showed everything. That's impossible, he whispered. Brennan, tell me you deleted that footage. Tell me... Brennan's face was gray as ash. I thought I did, sir. I was sure I did. But Vickers, she had a copy. She must have... Shut up. Holt's voice was barely audible. Shut up and let me think. On the screen, Caldwell's voice cut through his panic like a scalpel. What I've seen on this footage is not policing. It's persecution. It's abuse. It's everything wrong with a system that has lost its way. She paused. Let the words sink in. A woman who stopped a violent crime and rendered medical aid to an injured victim was treated like a criminal, slammed against a car, handcuffed, humiliated, her military honors torn from her chest and thrown in the dirt. The church was silent, breathless, waiting. A victim who tried to tell the truth was dismissed, ignored, told his testimony didn't matter because of supposed head trauma that the officers refused to treat. Her voice hardened. And the actual perpetrator, a white man identified by the victim and captured on security footage from 3 nearby businesses, was released, with a handshake and a laugh. The church erupted in angry shouts. Caldwell raised her hand. Silence returned. I know some of you are wondering. Her voice softened, just slightly. Why is the governor here? Why this case? Why this woman? Why would I risk my political career on a single arrest? She took a breath. The whole church leaned forward. 28 years ago, I was a young public defender. Overworked, underpaid, idealistic, naive. And one day, a case came across my desk that changed everything. The silence deepened. Even the reporters stopped typing. A 4-year-old girl with big brown eyes and not a single person in the world who wanted her. Her mother had died of an overdose. No father. No family. No one. Caldwell's voice caught. She steadied herself. The state wanted to put her in the foster system. Forget about her. Just another statistic. Another black child lost in the cracks of a broken system. She looked out at the crowd, at all the faces, all the lives. I couldn't forget her. So I adopted her. I raised her. I loved her with everything I had. I watched her grow into the most extraordinary person I've ever known. At the precinct, Holt was standing now, hands shaking, coffee forgotten on the floor. No, this can't be happening. I watched her volunteer for the army when she could have done anything else. I watched her earn a Silver Star for saving 7 lives under fire. I watched her come home with scars on her body and ghosts in her mind. And I watched her choose to keep saving lives, every single day, in that emergency room. Caldwell stepped closer to the microphone. Her voice dropped low, intimate, devastating. The woman you arrested. Holt stopped breathing. The woman you called sweetheart while you humiliated her. He grabbed the edge of the table, knuckles white. The woman whose Silver Star you spit on, and threw in the dirt, and ground under your boot. His knees buckled. The woman you told to stay in the kitchen. The woman you told that black girls don't have rights. All the blood drained from his face, every drop, until he was white as paper. Governor Patricia Caldwell leaned into the microphone. Every camera in the state focused on her face. That's my daughter. The church exploded. Screams, cheers, cries, reporters shouting questions over each other, people hugging, some falling to their knees, some raising their hands to heaven. At the precinct, Holt collapsed into his chair, white as death, drenched in sweat, trembling. Brennan backed away from him like he was contagious. Lieutenant, the governor's daughter. We arrested the governor's daughter. I said shut up! Holt's voice cracked, broke. I need to think. His phone rang. Caller ID, police commissioner. He didn't answer. It rang again, and again, and again. On the television, Governor Caldwell wasn't finished. But let me be absolutely clear about something. The church went silent again, waiting, listening. This is not about my daughter being special. It's not about her being connected to power. It's not about who her mother happens to be. She looked directly into the camera, into living rooms across the state, into the precinct where Holt sat frozen. It's about the fact that what happened to her happens every single day, to black women, to black men, to anyone who doesn't fit certain people's idea of who deserves dignity, who deserves protection, who deserves to be believed. She held up a folder, thick with documents, heavy with evidence. Lieutenant Derek Holt has been the subject of 3 excessive force complaints in the past decade, all dismissed, witnesses recanted, or were pressured to. Evidence disappeared, patterns buried. She opened the folder. I have new statements, new evidence, officers willing to testify, victims willing to come forward. Holt's phone buzzed. A text from Officer Vickers. I'm sorry, sir, I couldn't stay silent anymore. Not this time. He threw the phone across the room. It shattered against the wall. And as of 1 hour ago, Caldwell continued, I have his badge. The church erupted again. This time, nobody tried to stop it. Lieutenant Derek Holt, Officer Ryan Brennan, and 2 additional officers have been placed on immediate administrative leave pending full investigation by the State Bureau of Investigation. She paused, let the crowd roar, then raised her hand once more. The charges against Monique Foster are being dropped. Immediately, every single charge. And the real perpetrator, Kevin Doyle, identified through security footage and witness testimony, was arrested this morning. The fall of Lieutenant Derek Holt wasn't a local story. It became a national reckoning. Within 72 hours, federal investigators descended on Metro PD. Every case Holt had touched was reopened. Every arrest questioned. Every conviction scrutinized. Decades of corruption exposed to the light. News anchor Diana Morales broke the story wide open. Lieutenant Holt has been indicted on 15 federal charges, including civil rights violations, evidence tampering, witness intimidation, falsifying official documents, and obstruction of justice. Prosecutors say this is just the beginning of a department-wide investigation that could take years. The mugshot of Derek Holt appeared on every screen. Orange jumpsuit, dead eyes, the man who thought he was untouchable, finally touched by justice. If convicted on all counts, Holt faces up to 45 years in federal prison. Officer Ryan Brennan pled guilty to multiple charges, 2 years in federal prison. 4 additional officers terminated, 11 more under investigation. Kevin Doyle, the actual mugger, was arrested and convicted. In exchange for a reduced sentence, he testified against Holt. Told prosecutors everything. How Holt had let him go. How they'd laughed together. How Holt had patted him on the back and said, "Stay out of trouble, kid." The recording went viral. Millions of views, millions of shares, millions of people finally seeing what had been hidden for so long. 3 weeks after Monique's release, Governor Caldwell stood in the state capitol rotunda, surrounded by lawmakers from both parties, community leaders, survivors of police misconduct. She signed the Police Accountability and Transparency Act into law. The pen she used? She gave it to Monique. 5:30 p.m., the day of the governor's speech. Metro PD precinct steps. Lieutenant Derek Holt was escorted out the front door. No uniform, no badge, no weapon, just a broken man in handcuffs being walked to a waiting car. A black SUV pulled up. The crowd parted. Governor Caldwell stepped out, Monique beside her. Still wearing her orange jail jumpsuit, she'd been released only hours before. Holt saw them, his face twisted. One last flash of defiance. "This is a setup, a political hit job. You can't do this to me. I have rights." "Rights." Caldwell's voice was calm, ice cold. "There's that word." Raymond Whitmore stepped forward. In his hands, a small box. Inside, Monique's silver star. Cleaned, polished, restored. Monique took it, held it, felt its weight. The weight of everything she'd sacrificed, everything she'd earned, everything they'd tried to take. Then she looked at Holt. "You asked me if this meant something." She pinned the medal to her chest, right where it belonged. "It means I served my country. It means I saved lives. In Kandahar, in Kabul, in the emergency room, every single day." She stepped closer to him, not threatening, just present, just real. "You spit on this. You threw it in the dirt. You told me to stay in the kitchen." Her voice was steady, strong, unbreakable. "You tried to take everything I'd earned, everything I'd sacrificed for, everything I am." She touched the medal on her chest. "But you know what you couldn't take?" Holt said nothing. "Couldn't." "This." She pointed to her heart. "Who I am. My dignity, my purpose, my truth, my soul." She stepped back. "You never had the power to touch that. And you never will." Holt was led away, silent, broken, done. The crowd began to applaud, slowly at first, then louder, then roaring. A standing ovation for justice, for truth, for courage. Through the car window, Holt watched them, watched her. The woman he'd tried to destroy, standing tall in the golden evening light. His face was pale as death, and in that moment, he knew, really knew. Everything was over. Some stories end with justice. Some end with punishment. Some end with revenge. This one ends with something better. It ends with healing, with change, with hope. Monday morning, 7:00 a.m., Grady Memorial Hospital emergency room. Dr. Monique Foster walked through the doors. White coat, stethoscope, ready to work. Her colleagues were waiting. They erupted in cheers, applause, tears. "Dr. Foster, you're back," she smiled. "Where else would I be? We've got patients waiting." Back to business. Back to normal. Almost. Patients recognized her now. From the news. From the videos. From the signs that had been waved in her name. From the moment that had changed everything. Some said thank you. Some just nodded with quiet respect. One elderly black woman grabbed her hand and whispered, "You give us hope, baby. Don't you ever forget that." Monique didn't forget. In room 7, a 19-year-old girl named Keisha sat on the bed. Broken arm, bruised face, eyes that had seen too much. She looked up when Monique entered. Recognition flickered. "You're her, the doctor from TV, the one who saved that guy." Monique sat down, gently examined the injured arm. "I'm just a doctor doing my job, same as today. Now let's look at this arm." Keisha watched her work. Then, quietly, "They tried to destroy you. Take everything, and it came back, like nothing happened." Monique paused, looked at the young woman. Really looked. Saw herself, 20 years ago. Scared, hurt, wondering if the world would ever be fair. "Something did happen, Keisha. Something terrible, unfair, infuriating." She sat down, eye level, human to human. "But here's what I learned." Keisha leaned forward. "They tried to take everything from me. My freedom, my reputation, my dignity, my career, everything I'd spent my whole life building." She raised her hands. Empty. "You know what they actually took? Nothing. Zero. Because the things that matter, who you are, what you stand for, how you treat people, what you believe in your heart, nobody can take those. Not the police, not the courts, not the news, not anyone." She touched Keisha's shoulder. "Those belong to you. Forever. No matter what anyone does. No matter what anyone says." Keisha's eyes filled with tears, but she was smiling. Every year in America, thousands of cases like Monique Foster's happen. Most never make the news. The data is clear, undeniable, devastating. Black Americans are 5 times more likely to be stopped by police without cause. Black women face unique discrimination at the intersection of race and gender. Dismissed, disbelieved, dehumanized. But data doesn't change systems. People do. When communities organize, when witnesses speak up, when good officers break the silence, when ordinary people refuse to look away, that's when change happens. You don't need a governor for a mother, you just need each other. 6 months after her release, Monique stood on a stage at the National Civil Rights Conference in Washington, D.C. Thousands of faces looking up at her. "I spent 41 hours in a cell," she said, "for saving someone's life, for doing my job, for being black in the wrong place at the wrong time." The audience was silent, captivated, connected. But I'm not here to talk about what they did to me. I'm here to talk about what we can do for each other. She stepped to the edge of the stage. Injustice isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's a look, a tone, a sweetheart meant to put you in your place. Sometimes it's a system that treats your presence as a threat, your voice as noise, your truth as a lie. She paused. Let the silence breathe. But every time someone speaks up, every time someone records, every time someone says, "That's not right," even quietly, even just to themselves, that's a crack in the wall. Her voice grew stronger. You don't need all the power to make a difference. You just need to use the power you have. She looked across the crowd. So I'm asking you, what will you do the next time you see someone being treated like they don't matter? Will you look away? Stay silent? Tell yourself it's not your problem? She shook her head. Or will you act? The applause started slowly, then built, then roared. Now I have a question for you. Have you ever witnessed injustice? Real injustice? Right in front of you. Did you speak up? Did you stay silent? What would you do differently today? Tell me in the comments. I want to know your story. And if this story moved you, if it made you angry, made you hopeful, made you think, share it. Tag someone who needs to see this. Let's make sure stories like this get told, because silence isn't neutral. Silence is a choice, and choices have consequences. Lieutenant Holt learned that the hard way. Let's make sure the next Holt does too. Like, subscribe, share, not for me, for everyone still fighting, for everyone who never stopped. See you in the next story.